Are we good?
Okay, we're back. Okay, so like you're saying, Joe Kelly on Spider-Man. I'm looking forward to just number 611.
Yeah, and Deadpool's going to be doing an appearance in Spider-Man on his run. And I mean, whenever Spider-Man and Deadpool meet, it's always great. But Deadpool's never actually done a guest spot in a Spider-Man comic. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
the other way around. So I think this will be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to do to have Joe Kelly write it. I don't know how much experience he has at writing movies, but I gotta assume it'll probably transfer over great. A lot of people said if he doesn't write it directly, he's got to at least be somehow involved with a co-writer or at least a consultant for it. And even Rob Liefeld twittered that he was, it was like he was kind of one of the big people he recommended was Joe Kelly.
Yeah,
Though of course he also recommended Daniel Way, and I was like,
Yeah. While we're on the topic of Rob Liefeld, I want him to stay as far away from the script as possible. I am not a Liefeld. Even though he helped create Deadpool, I am not a fan of Rob Liefeld. His writing is not good. And his art is, you know.
I don't know. I've said it before. I'd love to meet the guy, just be able to say I've done it, and maybe get an autograph or something from him. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. When he kind of writes his stuff, I'm like, ooh, just hand it off to somebody else. And his art, there's sometimes where I see it, I'm just like, oh god. And other times I'm like, I don't mind it so much. I liked his art in Joe Kelly or in Deadpool 900.
His concepts are good.
Yeah.
But, like,
And you just can't draw feet.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So yeah, Joe Kelly would be great. It'd be awesome if he was involved with it, just because I feel he's got the best grasp of the character out there. Okay, so second most recommended was David Goyer, who of course wrote the Blade movies, wrote Batman. Which Batman?
He co-wrote Batman. He co-wrote Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Yeah, and for those guys who listen to the directors, he was one of my picks for the director, but especially for the writer. The main reason I want to see David Goyer do it is he was one of the original guys pushing to get a Deadpool movie made, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, he was the whole reason that Ryan Reynolds was even in Blade Trinity, because Ryan Reynolds got the contract to play Deadpool, but then that movie fell through. But
Yeah.
they still had the contract with him, so they put him in Blade Trinity and had him play Deadpool in that.
Yeah.
So,
And I love how both of them admitted that, yeah, we basically wrote him playing Deadpool, and we just we put the Hannibal King name on him.
Yeah, I'd love to see him write Deadpool, but he's not a good director. He should stay away from the directing stand.
From the directing, all right. Yeah, see, most of the cinematic stuff, unless it's something like really epic, like I know some people hate it, but I really like 300, and I like the look of it. Or even like the Lord of the Rings stuff. Unless it's something really cool like that, I tend not to pay too much attention to the directing. I just kind of get hooked on the story. So yeah, I guess again that kind of goes back to me thinking the writing is the most important part, as long as you have a director who doesn't screw it up. But yeah, totally behind David Goyer writing it. Actually, that was one of the other big suggestions was David Goyer and Joe Kelly together. A lot of people really like that one. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
All right, David Hayter.
David Hayter, yes. Most people know him as the voice of Solid Snake. That was my terrible Solid Snake impression. But yeah, he also is a very well-renowned screenwriter. He wrote X-Men 1 and X-Men 2. So that should say something right there, because those are both very well-written movies.
Very well.
So,
yeah. Yeah, I think I liked. Of course, I like the X-Men movies. My main beef with them is that they're Wolverine movies. But without having to have Wolverine in this movie, I'm like, yeah, sure. I bet he could do a great job with this.
I don't think it's the screenwriter's decision whether or not it's focused on a certain character, though. So, does it mean the producers pretty much say, "Hey, this needs to happen"?
Yeah, put these guys in here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump off topic real quick. What characters do you want to see in the Deadpool movie?
Oh man, I mean, if I had it my way, it would be I know they're rebooting the movie now, which I'm fine with. But if they weren't rebooting the movie, I would want it to be like Zoe and Monty find Weapon 11's head and like take him off and they do that story arc, and that would be a way to like kind of retcon the other stuff because they have alien technology.
Yeah,
But,
that's a cool take on it. I hadn't thought of that.
like I had the idea in my head, like they find his head, and they were like, this isn't what we expected him to look like, and he'd be like, yeah, the fanboys were annoyed about it too, you know, or something like that. But if they're rebooting it, it would be really easy to do Joe Kelly's origin story, have his mom die of cancer, his dad get killed in the bar, him go into the Weapon X program, kill Slayback, and then the last act would be him in the hospice. I think that would be really, really easy. But then again, there's also not a whole lot of... It would have to be paced right. They would have to find action scenes in there, and like I guess non-Deadpool fans might not like it. I don't know. But
So you'd probably stick it more close to the origin, like have the whole movie be mostly his origin, or?
Usually the first superhero movie is, but I mean, if they wanted to break that mold, I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely leaning towards that. I want them to breeze through his origin as fast as possible. Just cause, and it's not that I dislike his origin. I just kind of dislike origin movies unless it's done right. But I think so much of Deadpool's character comes out, especially too. It is maybe if it's done in flashbacks or something.
Yeah.
Cover it, and see more of his character after he's in it, and then go back on it.
Like, an easy way to do his origin too would be like the opening credit sequence, so you see flashes of all that stuff. Like that would be an easy way to do it too.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like if they were going to do a story arc from the comics, I think a cool story arc would be either the Mithras story arc, or because that wouldn't take a whole lot of guest stars. It could be just him.
Yeah.
And, then they could also do the Udon story arc towards the end, because that was kind of a funny, a lot of action, like had the mafia and stuff in it too. That would translate well to the screen. So.
I think that's one I'm leaning most towards. If they are going to adapt any of the stuff, adapt some of Gail Simone stuff, because we both like Agent X. I really love that run. And the Udon, how is it pronounced?
I think it's udon. I think it's like udon noodles.
Udon noodles.
It's a Japanese company. So.
There you go then. Okay. So I definitely like even the Udon Deadpool stuff was phenomenal. I like that whole run through there. So that's kind of, and of course Gail Simone. She was mentioned here. So far, what I got through, only one mention of her. I know both you and I had talked about her though. Let's go ahead and cover Gail Simone while we're at it.
Yeah, I don't think people know that much about her, because she took over Deadpool back when the comic was like on its last legs. It was about to be canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started up Agent X because Rob Liefeld was getting money every time they made a Deadpool comic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how he did that, but he gets money every time a Cable comic or a Deadpool comic comes out. And so they decided to change the name of it to Agent X.
Yeah, and same thing. They changed Cable to Soldier X, right?
Yeah, Soldier X or something like that. And then they came out with Cable and Deadpool after that. So apparently they figured.
Screw it. We'll just keep giving him money. People like him.
But so I guess a lot of people didn't pick up the book then, and it was really unfortunate, because the last story arc of Deadpool and the Agent X run, except for like 2 issues,
which were written by Daniel Way, weren't they? Or at least one was.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, Daniel Way wrote one of the Agent X books.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would explain it. Like there are like 2 issues that the art's done by somebody else and it's written by somebody else, and those issues are terrible.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it's just gold.
Yeah. They still had their laughs in them. There was a few parts of those I like, but yeah, overall, definitely. And Gail Simone kind of set the bar high for the Agent X books, and those poor other guys just had no chance. I would. Gail Simone's my favorite Deadpool writer. So I would definitely be down for her writing stuff. Just because I think she understands his sense of comedy best. I know that's I think that's something that you and I kind of differ on. Just listening to some of our videos and stuff and I know I differ from a lot of the Deadpool fans on this. Is for me, I love the Deadpool comics almost purely for the laughs. The dark stuff definitely has its cool parts to it, but the one thing I've always liked about Deadpool is, to me, it seemed like he was the guy who had the dark stuff happen to him, but was able to move on from it and go from there. And so for me, I definitely look for the laughs. I know you're definitely a big fan of the darker stuff and getting into more of his character, correct?
Yeah. I'm well, as an actor, I can really get into that stuff. You know.
Oh yeah.
It's just like finding complex characters is very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you get to play them in your own web series that makes them super fat. But
oh, I love the ending of that last video, where he came up to you in the basement or whatever. Man, that was hilarious.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, like that's also what I really like about Deadpool 2 is that he's got all this shit going on, but he can still hide behind his comedy and make himself look like he's happier than he is. 'Cause he even says it in an issue. He's like,
let's stop you right on that note. Leave a slight cliffhanger. Hold on.
Okay.
Go to the next video, guys.
Ooh.